written about comedians' life stories.
No, yeah, I could see that. That's interesting.
I was given a comedy book at the comedy store the other day, and I thought it was that, and it just turned out to be lessons on how to do stand up. And do you know Lou Deck?
Uh-huh.
He's from the like the beginning of the comedy store, and he was there doing the documentary that they're doing right now, and he found out that I do stand up, and he was just like, "Oh, I have a gift for you," and handed me a book, and then it was like, the first 50 times you're on stage, they're the scariest, and I was like, been on, okay, yeah, no, you're right, and then he handed me a book that was him trying to teach me how to write jokes. Just not insulting at all when you see a female comic and just assume she doesn't know what she's doing. But yeah, it was it's funny. I came to comedy through theater, and so I was already, writing, but it's different because you're doing stand up and the beats are different and everything. But it's kind of funny out here, just the people that read the books to learn how to do comedy or taking classes and stuff. How did you get into writing for comedy?
Um, I moved out here because I saw a sitcom called Living Single
Mhm.
and fell in love with it. This was right after falling in love with the Golden Girls. So I like the shows with the 4-point opposition
Uh-huh.
and all the characters. You have the Dorothy type that's really deadpan. Then you have the Blanche that's the sex kitten. Then you have the Rose that's the dingbat. You
Mhm.
know. Then you then you have the older lady who's just the one that just comes in with the zingers. You
Mhm.
know. So then when you see that format, you're like, oh, that's really interesting. Then when I saw it with Living Single, I related to those characters, and I was like, I really want to create sitcoms. That's what I moved out here to attempt to do. Had no idea what it took, and then realizing that to get into a writer's room is almost virtually impossible because sometimes they tell you have to be in the writers guild to get the job interview, but you can't get the job. You know what I'm saying? You
Yep.
just you in the guild, so it's like this weird catch 22. And I didn't want to be a production assistant. Definitely didn't want to be a writer's assistant. That's like a court stenographer.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I have to figure out another way. So I had tried stand up and didn't know that people wrote material. I thought everybody was just getting up talking off the top of their head because they were just so comfortable and talented.
This is the way they make it look, yeah.
They make it look easy.
And then I get on stage and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I'm like, I've been making people laugh since elementary school. This should be easy. No,
Yeah.
it is an art form that you will learn to respect. And so I had to learn how to write a joke and learn how to construct a joke, and I still didn't see comedy as something for me.
Yeah.
I still wanted, I still had my day job and I wanted to rise in the ranks of television production. But once everything switched from, sitcoms went away for a minute because reality shows took up a lot of the airspace, I didn't really want to do that. So after doing comedy at night, because I ended up being forced to do it, I was producing a show, and one of the other producers said that she was doing a show this Friday. It was like a Monday on the next big thing. She was going to have two singers, two rappers, and two comedians. And she said, and I booked you as one of the two comedians. And I said, why would you book me? I don't do comedy anymore. She said, because you're the funniest person in the office. I said, well, how hard is that to be? And I said, I have my own shows due.
Right.
I really don't have time to. Well, you're booked. She would not take no for an answer.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, hell. And this is a national TV show. So I said, well, let me try to figure something out. So I wrote, she said it's only 3 minutes. So I wrote a couple jokes. I went to the Ha Ha Cafe in North Hollywood to try to practice.
First place I did comedy was the
And it was a lukewarm reception, but at least I got to hear the words come out of my mouth before I put it
Yeah.
on television. And then they had judges, and then the judges did not give me a bad critique, because had they given me a bad critique, I'd have quit again. But they gave me encouraging words, so that's when I started doing it at night and working all day. But still not planning on doing it full time. It was just a fun, creative outlet at that time.
Right.
So, but life morphs. You don't really know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, isn't that, yeah. I'm like, oh,
Exactly. But let me tell you my new form of relaxation that happens, I believe, after 40. You really get too exhausted to drive. So what I do now is I just Uber and Lyft, like places where I would drive myself. I leave my
Uh-huh.
car parked at home, and I'll jump right into a Lyft and just let somebody drive me because it's so much better. You're not stimulated mentally the whole time like you have to be in order to drive.
Mhm.
You
Uh-huh.
know, looking at the lines in the road and watching other cars and defensive driving. You can just lay back if you want to. You can close your eyes. You can snore if you want to. It's just a much more relaxing way to do things is to let somebody else drive you.
I like that.
So-
Just your little like, just give me a couple minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Just let me close my eyes and let me just turn my brain off,
Uh-huh.
and that's my relaxation now. Just not driving myself, just leaving the
Right.
car parked and let somebody else do the driving. That isn't Greyhound.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Have you ever had to ask them to like change the music or stop doing
Oh,
something?
the funniest thing happened last night. I had a Montreal Just for Laughs showcase at the Hollywood Improv, and that's when I said I'm definitely not driving myself. So I hit the Lyft app, and this guy picks me up, and he's like an older kind of foreign guy. I don't know exactly which country, but he said, "Oh, you're going to a comedy club," and I said, "Yeah." He said, "Are you watching somebody, or are you going to be part of the show?" And I made the mistake.
Oh no.
I should have said just watching somebody. That would have. I've learned as of last night. Don't be honest. So I said, "Oh," I said, "I actually have a showcase," and he was like, "Oh, why does this man proceed to start telling me a series of bad jokes?"
Why? Why?
And I'm like, "Oh my God, oh my God!" So I'm starting to panic. Like I try to call one of my friends, and then she doesn't pick up. So he's like, "Yeah, well, I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, in the '60s, and we told all of our jokes were ethnic jokes." I was like, "Oh, please don't let him do no N-word jokes in the back of this daggone Lyft."
Did not want to have to go to the hospital today, but I'm definitely going to knock
Egg-
this man out while he's driving.
I thought that's what he was angling for, but he proceeds to tell a series of Polak jokes.
Of course.
First of all, I ain't even heard the word Polak in a decade.
I kind of remember when that was like a big. I remember those jokes like when I was little, and they were kind of like. And you had no idea what they were talking about, but you were just like, I'm going with it. Ugh.
And I mean, he's like, "How many Polacks does it take to change a light bulb?" And then whatever his punchline was, which I don't remember, it was so wah wah wah.